The transfer portal cycle continues, and we've got two more talking about exiting the Auburn football team, both on offense and defense. Let's talk about who they are and what it means for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. War Eagle, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. As you're watching or listening today, be sure to drop a comment down below about this particular topic. It'll help enter you into our ongoing subscriber giveaway for a signed Auburn football prize package. Details are listed in the description link. And lastly, we do want to thank members of our booster club like Thomas Manville, who help produce videos like this. Admittedly, we should have talked about one of these guys already, but we didn't have a ton to talk about. So that's why for a lot of these transfer portal guys, when we do videos about them, we're going to be doing them in two parts at the very least, just so that we can have enough content to squeeze into one particular video. So the two individuals that we're talking about leaving the Auburn football team right now are wide receiver Dawson, the number 4 transfer, but also number 5 transfer now as of today, a linebacker Powell Gordon leaving the Auburn football team. When we talk about these transfers, the first thing that comes to mind is now there's going to be less depth at each of these positions, wide receiver and at linebacker. Now, the fact is that both of these guys didn't play a whole lot during their short time, and we don't know how that would have tracked out if they continue to stay in the transfer portal and don't make a return to Auburn football, but it will be not a great thing to not have them be a part of that depth going forward. The other aspect of this is that both coaching staffs have said some good things about each of these guys, and to different degrees with different staffs. Like the Harsonaires seem to say a lot of good things about Tavares. Powell Gordon had a lot of great things said about him, about Hugh Freeze, not necessarily that he was going to start, but that they could see him developing into something. So there were some high hopes maybe there, and they just maybe not be realized at Auburn football. So as of doing this video, I couldn't find an official statement or announcement from Tavares Dawson, but there was one put out very recently from Powell Gordon acknowledging simply that he's entering the transfer portal. Not a big overblown statement that we need to address here, just simply acknowledging that this is a reality. But let's look at some stats, the very few stats that these guys had during their time here. At wide receiver for Tavares Dawson, only 2 catches, and this is from ESPN, amounting to 30 yards with a long of 22 yards during his very short time. Powell Gordon did not play at all for the Auburn Tigers. Now, in terms of A-Day production, Tavares Dawson had arguably the best catch of the day, a 39-yard catch from Robbie Ashford, and Powell Gordon had 2. So you can see the story here. Not a lot of production on the field, but it doesn't take away from what they might have been able to accomplish here if they had stayed. So now let's talk about what it means for the Auburn Tigers. We'll talk about numbers, depth chart, and what the replacement options might be. So we'll start with the numbers game. This is the 5th transfer since the start of spring. As a reminder, that is Cameron Brown, Desmond Tisdale, Jeffrey Imba, and now you've got the likes of Tavares Dawson and Powell Gordon entering to the portal, making it 5 total. This is now the 4th defensive transfer, and 3 of those, including Powell Gordon, are linebackers, and the first on offense, and the first, obviously, because of that, at the wide receiver position. Now let's talk about the depth chart for each of these different positions. At wide receiver, you're going to be familiar with names and probably seen the starting positions, guys like Camden Brown, Coy Moore, Javaris Johnson, and you can extend that even further to guys that are going to be in the mix: Amari Kelly, Jay Fair, Malcolm Johnson. You could keep going, and then add into the equation Nick Mardner and Jaquavius Story, who are brand new to this team, that are going to factor into the depth chart. And then looking at the linebacker depth chart, you got guys like Cam Riley, Wesley Steiner, Robert Woodyard, Eugene Asante, and then you're even bringing in new names like Austin Keys and Demario Talon, so you can see that the depth is pretty full at both of these positions. So what does this mean for replacements for these particular guys? Will we fill each of these spots? Well, the answer most directly is, of course. There's an open scholarship, so we're going to fill that scholarship at some points. But will we fill that specific position? At wide receiver, like we just addressed, there's a lot of prominent names here. So it's not that I don't think we won't bring in a wide receiver. I think that option still is there. If someone fits the scheme, as Hugh likes to say, you bring them in, but it feels like that room is still pretty full. Linebackers, the coaches have reportedly said that they still would like to fill that room out a little bit more, and with the departure of several linebackers now leaving the program, you got to think maybe that's the more likely option to bring in a transfer at this point. So that's my thoughts on the latest transfer news for Auburn football. We'd love to hear your thoughts about this news down in the comments section below. Be sure to do that so you can be in that subscriber giveaway. You need to be subscribed too, because that's part of the process too. And as always, check out the links in the description for ways that you can help support us here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. War Eagle.